Hello students. In 8th standard you already learned about the rise of medieval period in India. In 9th standard we are going to learn about the rise of British rule in India. India has enjoyed an incomparable position in the whole world because of its economic, cultural and religious inheritance. Inheritance means what we learned from our forefathers. In ancient time, India was considered one of the richest countries of the world. Its rich culture and prosperity influenced people across the world. So many people of the world were eager to enter into trade with India and earn wealth from her. Gradually, many merchants from across the world came to India by land route to start trading with Indians. They sold Indian spices, muslin, silk, cloth, indigo, etc. in the European countries. But in 1453 AD, the Turkish Muslims captured Constantinople in Turkey, which fell in the trade route between Europe and India and closed the trade route. In order to meet the demands of the European market, many countries of the Europe started searching for new sea route to India. The Europeans could not do without Indian spices and other products, and so they felt a strong need to discover new sea route to India. Now we learn about the discovery of sea route to India. Bartholomew Dias, the Portuguese sail explorer, discovered the Cape of Good Hope. Christopher Columbus, an Italian sailor, discovered America. Vasco da Gama, the Portuguese sailor, discovered a new sea route to India in 1498. Bartholomew Dias, he was the first explorer who started his navigation from Portugal to find out a new sea route to India. He sailed around the southern tip of Africa and reached the Cape of Good Hope. He refused to go further and Dias had to forcibly return, so he could not discover India. Now, Christopher Columbus, an Italian sailor, got help from Spain, and he believed that by sailing westwards from Spain he could reach to India, but he crossed Atlantic Ocean, which he believed to in the western side of India, and he named it as West Indies. But instead of reaching India, he reached America. He never realized this. He always thought that he reached India, he found India, but in his lifetime he never realized that he had discovered America instead of India. Now Vasco da Gama, a Portuguese sailor, started his journey. He decided to found a new sea route to India in 1498 AD. He sailed around the tip of South Africa and reached the Cape of Good Hope, and he crossed the ocean and reached Calicut. When he reached Calicut, he was welcomed by King Samarin and allowed to do business there. Thus, the discovery of sea route is considered an important event in the world, which later opened the doors for other Europeans, including the British, to enter India. Now we learn arrival of Europeans to India. The Portuguese were the first to arrive in India for trade and took control over Diu, Daman, Goa, Cochin, etc. Vasco da Gama, the Portuguese sailor, found a new sea route to India in 1498 AD. The Portuguese were the first to arrive in India for trade. Within a period of 100 years, the Portuguese took control over many Indian territories. After Portuguese, the Dutch from Holland and Danish from Denmark arrived in India for trade. About 100 years, by seeing the trade success of Portuguese in India, the Dutch from Holland and the Danish from Denmark arrived in India for trade. Before the Dutch could establish their rule in India, the British arrived. Now, the arrival of the British. The English traders had established the British East India Company in 1600. Queen Elizabeth of England gave the permission to the East India Company to carry out trade with the eastern countries. The first British ship arrived in Surat under the leadership of Captain William Hawkins. But because of the opposition from the Portuguese, they were not allowed to establish the trade center in Surat. Under the leadership of Sir Thomas Roe, the British East India Company got the permission from the Mughal Emperor Jahangir to establish its first trading center in Surat in 1613 AD. In the initial years, the company established its trading centers in Surat, Bharuch and Ahmedabad. The Marathas had a very strong presence in these regions, so the company felt it would be not safe to remain there. So the company moved towards the South and East India. They set up their trade centers in Machilipatnam, Fort St. George in Chennai and Fort William in Calcutta. In 1687 AD, they made Bombay as their headquarters. French had also established a company called the French East India Company in 1668 AD. They set up their trade centers in Mahi, Karaikal, Pondicherry, Chandranagar, Machilipatnam. The Portuguese had established their colonies at Diu, Daman, Calicut, Cochin, etc. The French established their colonies at Karaikal, Pondicherry, Mahi, etc. The British established their colonies at Ahmedabad, Surat, Bharuch, Mumbai, Fort St. George, Fort William, etc. In 1756, Sirajuddaula became the Nawab of Bengal. Sirajuddaula's people, traders and even British traders were unhappy of Sirajuddaula's decisions. The British wanted a ruler who could provide them better facilities for trade in India. The British East India Company had built a fortress around their trade center in Kolkata on the reason of security. Moreover, they had not taken Nawab's permission to build it. So Sirajuddaula destroyed the fortress. When this news reached Madras, a small British army under the leadership of Robert Clive was sent to West Bengal in order to help the British in Bengal. In spite of the strong army of the British East India Company, Clive understood that it was not easy to defeat Nawab's army. So, Clive made a conspiracy. Conspiracy means a secret plan with Mir Jafar. Mir Jafar was the commander-in-chief of Siraj Dawla and Sayyid Amidjan to attack Siraj Dawla. In 1757, Clive declared a war on Siraj Dawla in the village of Plassey, located 38 km from West Bengal, under the false reason of harassment by Siraj Dawla. As per the plan, Mir Jafar did not support Siraj Dawla, so Siraj Dawla lost the battle and got killed. Due to Robert Clive's betrayal, the Battle of Plassey ended in just half day. Now we learn about the result of the Battle of Plassey. Mir Jafar became the Nawab of Bengal. The British got control over 24 Parganas in West Bengal. Battle of Plassey marked the beginning of the British rule in India. It is considered as the most important event in the history of India because with this event, a drastic change took place in Indian history. Now we learn about the Battle of Buxar. After winning the Battle of Plassey, the British made Mir Jafar the new Nawab of Bengal. But Mir Jafar did not give trading rights to the British in India. The East India Company wanted a person whom they could control and get wealth from. So, the British dethroned Mir Jafar and appointed Mir Qasim as the new Nawab. But Mir Qasim, he was more ambitious than Mir Jafar and he became a threat for the company. So the British once again removed Mir Qasim from the throne and made Mir Jafar again the Nawab. Mir Qasim got furious and took refuge under the Nawab of Oudh. At that time, the Mughal Emperor Shah Alam came to visit the Nawab of Oudh. Thus, Mir Qasim, the Nawab of Oudh and Shah Alam got united and declared a war against the British. On 22nd October 1764, the united army of Mir Qasim, Shah Alam and Nawab of Oudh declared war against the British. On 22nd October 1764, they fought a battle against the British at Buxar in Bihar. At Buxar, the British defeated the united army. The British got the Diwani rights. Diwani rights means the right to collect revenue from Bengal, Bihar and Orissa. In this way, the British rule began from Bengal and spread across the nation. Now we learn about the expansion of company's role. The British government passed the Regulating Act in 1773. The important provisions of this Regulating Act was in 1773 AD, the British government passed this act. According to this act, the Governor of Bengal made the Governor General and all the trade and political activities of the company in India were brought under his direct control. Moreover, the governor of Mumbai and Madras came under his direct control of the governor general. According to this, Warren Hastings became the first governor general. Now we learn about the subsidiary alliance. Lord Wellesley introduced the subsidiary alliance. The conditions of this system and the state adopted under this are: first one, the army trained by the East India Company will be provided to the state that accept the system. In return for this, the state accepting the system will provide for the army or give away provinces with equivalent income to the British. Without the permission of the company, the state will not wage a war or sign treaty with other states. There will be one English representative in the state assembly. Other foreigners not to be employed in the state. The states who accepted this system were Nizam, Mysore, Oudh, Gaikwad, Scindia, Bhosle and Holkar. These were the states accepted the subsidiary alliance. Now we learn about the British Governor Generals and their major events. First one, Warren Hastings. The British fought the first Maratha War and the second Mysore War with Hyder Ali of Mysore during his period. As a result, the problem for the East India Company increased because it had to face both the powers simultaneously. Next comes Cornwallis. He became Governor General after Warren Hastings. During his time, the Third Mysore War took place with Tipu Sultan. Tipu Sultan, famously known as the Tiger of Mysore. He was so brave that the company had to join hands with the Marathas and the Nizam to defeat him. Tipu lost the war against the combined forces and had to accept treaty with the British. Next comes Sir John Shore. After Cornwallis, Sir John Shore became the Governor General. He framed some rigid policies due to which the fame of English East India Company declined and Marathas became stronger. He followed a policy of neutrality. Next comes Wellesley. Governor General Wellesley came after Sir John Shore. He got the responsibility to make English East India Company supreme in India. So he introduced the subsidiary alliance system. The subsidiary alliance system worked as a sweet poison for India. Next comes Hastings. After Wellesley, Hastings came to India as Governor General. He entered into a war with Nepal and forced Gurkhas to join the British Army. Hastings fought a battle with a tribe called Pindari, spread across Maratha, and took control over it. With the Third Maratha War, the supremacy of the company was established in India. Next comes William Bentinck. Due to his liberal policies and approach, William Bentinck was known as the Liberal Governor General. He believed that the dissatisfaction existed in different states due to the imperialist policy or expansionist policy followed by the previous governor generals. Under such situation, the British could not unite the states and control them properly. Next comes Lord Wellesley. Wellesley came to India as a Governor General in 1848. He was a fierce imperialist. His aim was to expand British Empire in India, so he adopted a policy of annexation. In addition to this, he was a reformist. In 1853, he introduced the first railway line in India between Mumbai and Thane. He started a wireless communication system between India and England and established the Public Works Department. He also introduced English education in India. He passed laws to ban child marriage and advocated widow remarriage. Thus, within 100 years from the Battle of Plassey in 1757, the British rule and the British Empire became supreme in India. However, because of the dissatisfaction among Indians, the Indians started a freedom struggle against the British in 1857. This struggle is known as the First War of Indian Independence or Sipahi Mutiny. Thank you.